Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Welcome to the show. With me, your host, Dr. Izdiha Jamil. And today I have our guest, Jean-Sebastien Busque, who is an author, speaker, entrepreneur, and also a TEDx speaker. He's a French-Canadian guy, and today we're going to be touching base with two of his books. One is called The Worth the Shots, and the other is Gender Bilingual. And we're going to be unpacking the wisdom behind it, the lessons learned for the for you listeners today, and it's about his journey of transitioning from a woman to a man. So Jean-Sebastien, or I call him JS, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Bonjour. Should we say start with that, right? Bonjour.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go straight to the point. One of your book is called Worth the Shot, and Jean-Sebastien books are available on Amazon. So let's talk about what was your intention on writing Worth the Shots?
Worth the Shot started as a funny project because I did a French-Canadian podcast where I was explaining my transition journey in a really with my usual tone, like frank way, with a lot of humor, a lot of intimacy. I was kind of sharing that we don't really discuss about. And when I came to do the TED Talk, you were discussing about, I was receiving a lot of questions around my transition, but that was not the idea I wanted to bring to the stage. So I was like, I cannot tell you to go on my podcast, so let's do a book about it. So Worth the Shots is really about my transitioning journey. I call it a bit of my memoir / intimate journey I went through. So everything from how the heck around close to 40 years old, I'm finding out that I couldn't see before. What it changed on my relationships. How did I approach my second coming out? Because I was with my wife for a while before, so I had to do a second coming out. How I did all the legal stuff to change my name. How was it for me to go in the restroom for the first time? Like all those part and pieces that are not kind of discussed in the mainstream. So my intention was that, and the first intention for the podcast was I've always told I'm in a privileged position in a sense where I don't have anyone that could throw me out of their house. I'm not depending on my parents. I have the freedom to be my own employer, so I don't have anyone that could like remove me from my job. So my calling was I can help someone else because I'm in a position to do so. So that's how that whole journey kind of started and ended up in a book.
Yes, it started with a French and a podcast that was in French, right? And then you had like people, as you started to talk about the message, not for anything else, but for you to understand your own journey on going from A to B. So you started to like sharing it on a podcast in a way, like leveraging your time so that when people have questions, you can refer them to your podcast, or as an insight, like over the years, that's something that people can look into. But then you come to the point of, okay, like I need not just the podcast because it's in French and we have
that was my main issue, because and I didn't want to. I could have redone it in English, but it didn't feel like there's a vibe when you record. I was almost doing. It's not a podcast like we hear usually, or discussion as we're doing today. It was like more an intimate kind of journey. And I was like, I don't want to feel pressure to say the same thing and try to translate. And so that's why it came. And I said, like, why not do it in a book kind of feeling, and it might reach more people. Because that was why I did the podcast to begin with, is because I was receiving question and I was receiving the feedback that I tend to explain it well and more universal, no necessarily an agenda or to justify my choice, more in, hey, once I decide to transition, here's what's happening. And oh, I didn't thought of that. So that's how I got the request to do more podcasts. And after that, I was surprised that my actual main market ended up to be women. more, even more, I think, than people that transition, because they were like, whoa, okay, now I understand my husband. Oh, wow, here's the way he's thinking. Here's the way I'm thinking. So it led me kind of in a complete different spectrum of reaction, I think, than what I expected to start with.
Yeah, which is, great because you never know, right? You thought it's going to be this particular community, but
Hmm.
then because the way that you say it is relatable, it's simple. It's like you're not trying to be anyone else. You're not trying to be the prim and proper mascot for this subject matter.
Nope.
You're trying to just share your journey, share your story, your perspective, what you went through, the challenges. I'm like, oh yeah, that didn't work. And one of the things that you mentioned, JS, was that you're glad that in a way you do it later in life, just because
Hmm.
you had an understanding or stability in a way. And obviously, this decision just doesn't happen like overnight in your
No, 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 not at all. Not at all.
it's just, one thing lead to the other, and you're in a position where, you know, your employer is not going to kick you off unless you decide to fire yourself. That is a different thing. Yeah. Or like, you're living on your own without, not with your parents. So I wanted to touch because this is something that you touch in your book as well in terms of the journey that you went through for the decision that you made to along the way with the transitioning. And I feel like sometimes people nowadays they just jump on the wagon too fast
Hmm.
without properly reasoning or understanding things. So I wanted to talk about that decision and what you've discovered and some tips that you can share to your readers from the book Worth the Shot as they go through this phase or thinking about going through it.
Yeah, well, I think one of the major thing for me was I didn't want to do it to begin with. And that's a surprising fact for many people because it was obvious. If you known me for years, it was an obvious answer. But I was an absolute, what's the expression, chicken shit about that. I didn't want to go through this because what I was seeing was the whole journey, and especially the ending of all the operations and all the thing I would have to get through. And I just closed books and I was like, nope, I'm too old. I'm past due. Next life. Yeah, like I'm not doing that stuff. Like, no way. I'm way too old for that. Because in my mind, I was seeing like my whole life is built. I'm not gonna go do that.
Mm,
I should have done that in my 20s, kind of thing. And then one of the best advice was came from my wife was like, we're gonna take it one step at a time. If you decide you go on this thing, just look at the next step, no further than that. And I think that's what I maintain all the way through those things because you can get overwhelmed. Um, you can get all the fears in you pushing back and say, oh no, I'm not doing that because of this and that and that. And then you start thinking about other people more than your own happiness at the end. So I'm just approaching that transition as, okay, here I am today. Am I ready to take the next step? Do I want to take it? And I can have the liberty to accept that gray zone also. So surprisingly, once I started to take it slow, it went really fast. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna just do the next step, but that next step went in a way that I did not expect. It unfolded really quick, and that's what I'm discussing in the book. Of first thing I know, oh, I got the vial of testosterone in my hands, and I'm like, wow, it didn't take more than a month, and in my mind, it was gonna take 6 months to get that.
mm,
And then, oh, changes are really long to appear, but in my case, in like 3 months, it was really obvious, like the voice has changed and many other things. So that's what I'm discussing of um, there were kind of a surprise, but keeping that mindset of I'm doing that for my happiness. I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm going to take time to analyze, to decide how I'm approaching things. That really serves me well, and I think that's what I'm displaying a little bit. And the hiccups in between, like
mm.
calling the doctor's office and don't understanding the male's voice asking for a women's file, or for me to ask for operation that usually are women's operation, and she's like, "Sir, are you sure it's not vasectomy?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm good." I'm like, "Okay, I'll have to explain." So all those little moments, for me, is where I found the gold pieces instead of finding like frustration and, oh, she should have known, and that kind of approach. So that's really what I'm sharing. And I would say that the major feedback I get when I'm um, telling my whole life story, at the end of Word to Shut, you don't have necessarily a tool for your life. But what I've shared is I got people like messaging me, telling me, "Hey, you were the whore that helped me going faster." Or, "Oh, I understood a different perspective that I never thought of." Like, "Oh, through you have to go through this. Like, now I'm expected to open doors. They don't get open for me anymore." So, oh, nice little change. So the more I discuss those daily things, I think it just gives refreshing perspective on that thing that we discuss a lot, that is trending these days, but people don't really quite get in the day-to-day life. And I think that's what people get the most about that book.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. And you touch about the fact that, you, like your wife said, just take it one thing at a time. Because even when you go
Mhm.
up the stairs to the top of the floor, you can only see, a few steps at a time, right? You can never see like the top stairs from the fifth floor. You can never see that. So it's just like one step at a time as you climbing in and taking the time to analyze, to processing. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that if you do make decisions, whatever decisions in your life, it cannot be because it's a trend or it's an in
No.
thing. Like you gotta,
Well,
as you mentioned, a few factors, right, that led you to making the decision.
mhm.
It can never be about a peer pressure. It can never be about a trend. It can never be about, oh, this is the coolest thing. Like it can never be that because once you make the decisions, you gotta live with the consequences or everything that comes with it. Like as you mentioned, you call the doctor's office trying to ask for a woman's thing, and they're like, "No, but you're a man. What is this man calling about?" And about this X, Y, Z, and the whole process of you mentioned in the book changing your name and the gender, like the
Mhm.
legal process of it, how many times you have to repeat the story. So I wanted to kind of like the listeners here to think about his journey as well as also think in terms of JS is an entrepreneur. So he's thinking he has a podcast, but you want to serve a larger audience, right? With your message,
Yep.
with your story, with your insights. So then he leveraged his message across multi-platform. So he has, from the podcast to the book, which we work together on the Worth the Shots, and then on stages here on the radio. So people need to understand that your message cannot be in just one way platform thing, that you want to leverage it across the multiple platforms. And what have you seen when from the podcast to the book to the stage to the interview, radio, podcast, media? What have you seen the effect of you having the courage and bravery to share your voices across those multiple platforms?
Well, I think, well, there's two things. For me personally, my message kind of solidified because the more I speak about it, the more I'm more confident, the more I'm finding new things to talk about, new angle, new things to discuss. And on a wider level, I'm just amazed on how many new people I can reach in a new way. And as I say, I like to do the quiet wave. I'm just like sending that message out. I'm not expecting, ton of DMs. I'm not expecting anything, but I'm just getting from time to time a message that says, "Hey, I listened to this. It's so close to what I'm living. Like, you make me laugh, you make me cry, and I so feel what you said." So just those messages from time to time, I'm just like, okay, it reached someone that needed it. So I think I'm on that kind of quest of, some people are more familiar with the book. Some people are more like, I'm going to listen to you do a couple things on social media. I'm going to listen to you on your whole podcast. And I'm probably in the close future going to do a second one in English. Yeah, of course, this is for me also different because I started with the little more smaller French market in Quebec. And then I'm opening, I didn't expect to open this fast or this big, as I said, as I tried to reach for a TEDx, and it worked. And it was in California. So I was the French guy flying from Quebec, Canada, to go try to do my message on a huge platform. But I think every time also I'm just bringing something to the table also. Like I'm spreading on multiple platform, but I'm also bringing a different perspective. I'm not just uh, repeating stuff or reheating stuff or just and this is a crazy journey that I am on.
Yeah, I mean, that's so exciting, right? Like a French guy flying all the way to California to give a TEDx talk. And remind everybody or tell everybody what is the name of your TEDx talk so people can go to YouTube and then
Mhm.
either search for Jean-Sebastien Busque or the title of your TEDx talk.
Yeah, the title is Public Restroom: The Unexpected Connector for Men and Women. Um, and I hope everyone's like to see it. I had fun doing that talk. It was a lot of challenge for me. It was a challenging process for me to do a TED talk. But I think there's so much behind it that it's interesting to discuss.
Mhm.
And that's what bring me all the way to California to deliver that crazy idea.
Yeah,
Um,
and I had the pleasure of, being at TEDx Fullerton. That's where JS gave his TEDx, so assisting with the event production there. And speaking of that TEDx talk, it is actually so Worth the Shot has a twin sister, which is,
mm,
gender bilingual. And gender bilingual is actually a spin-off in a way or an extension of JS TEDx Talk. As you know, TEDx Talk, you can only fit like so much, right? Between 8 to 10 minutes. So this is like something tangible that people can hold on to in the extrapolation of the message. So touch base a couple of things, 2 or 3 things that people can learn or that you highlighted from gender bilingual, which is the spin-off or an extension of your TEDx Talk.
yeah, without giving too much of the punch of my TED talk, basically what I realized is instead of feeling like an outsider as a transgender, I realize I have a superpower, which is understanding men and women. It's like now in my brain, there's both dialogues and I can speak 2 languages. So like I speak French and English now, I can speak men and women. And that talk was about it. And to introduce the subject, I started with the public restroom, but there's way more in life
Yeah.
than public restrooms. It's just one setting, but to get a broader sense of a situation or moments in life where I'm starting to get a double dialogue in my mind, that's what I put in gender bilingual.
Mhm.
Like now I go shopping and I'm like, why all the color disappeared on the men's side? I like, once my wardrobe now has navy, khaki, like white, gray, black, that's about it. Like you're a funky one if you get more colors. Like, or why now do I get back pockets in my jeans, like compared to women's jeans? So this is one setting where there's so many questions going on in my mind, and that's what I put in gender bilingual. And that's one easy example, but I go also into how my emotion have changed, how
Mhm.
now with hormones I understand more men's behavior compared to women, how it changed in my life, how um, I was explaining one scene where I almost threw my laptop out the window. I would never have done that as a woman. Then I
Yeah.
stopped and I kind of said like, whoa, what is that? Why is that? So but those are all small vignettes from the day-to-day life. I really get back to the down and practical stuff, and I think that's where people relate. So that's what is mostly in gender bilingual, because as you said in that TED talk, I had 10 minutes. Already fitting that idea in 10 minutes was hard. And I got questioned on so many things, but I was like, no, I need to stick to my main idea. I cannot tell you everything else that I observe. And that's where gender bilingual was born of, okay, there's more to tell about it. And that expression came in my talk saying gender bilingual. That's what I became. So that's how that twin sister kind of got born.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and if you see the cover with the shots and gender bilingual, one is dark, one is light. I was telling JS it's like yin and yang because it's like the twin, it's accompanying thing. It sticks together. It's an extension of it. And with the shots as well as gender bilingual are both available on Amazon. So you can go and search
Correct.
out for it. Okay, JS, now that you've got the books, the TEDx talk, what is the next thing for you in your journey?
That's a good question. That's the question I'm asking. Like, the TEDx kind of took a big part of my year, getting those books out in, as we said, worth the shot. I work with you and your team, and I think we did it in a record time of 30 days. I did gender bilingual in like a 40, 45 days kind of span. Now I'm in the period where I'm taking a break with my family. We're traveling around the United States right now. We're adjusting to a kind of nomad kind of life. Professionally, I'll see where I'm going, but I'm definitely probably seeing an English podcast of some kind. I don't know the subject yet, because there's my transition, but there's been so much more also that I want to share with the world. So I'll see where it leads. But that journey has already been incredible. So
Yeah, and then like I said, time now with your family and just kind of taking again, just like your entire journey, like taking the time, pause, reset,
yep.
reassess, and then being guided to the next step. And so that the English podcast is going to be exciting. I hope I'm getting invited to the podcast, even though I'm not in the market, but it's a perspective that we can share. And then, like we also talked about of JS helping other people to share their message and their voice through
Mhm.
books and through other platforms because sometimes, when one, you may not know how to share your voice, and two, maybe not many people believed in you. So like, you want to have someone who believed in you and gonna hold your hand,
Yep.
take care of your voice, take care of you through the process, just like how I took care of JS with his book, just like how Hannah and Ruben and Carol and Jeremy took care of JS with his TEDx talk. Kind of like you want people who's going to believe in you and help you and demand the best from you. So I think that is the one thing that I feel that I've been blessed to be in your company as well. Like having people that we trust, that we can work together, that play all out. Because it's
Mhm.
hard when there are people who like, you see them, you see the potential, but they themselves are not willing to play the game.
Yeah, and I think what I'm noticing also, because everything I'm telling happened in a span of 1 year for me. Like the podcast was born beginning of, I think I launched it in February this year.
Mm,
And I think where everyone are amazed with what I've done in 1 year, it's because I didn't stop about the I don't know how to launch a book. I was gonna find how to launch a book. And I think that's where people get stuck most of the time of it's too complicated to do a book or it's too complicated to do a podcast. I need the equipment. I need this. I need that. And when you bring it back to the simple form, sometimes it's not that complicated. Or you can reach out to people that are used to do that. Like I reached to you saying, hey, I want to do that book alongside Ted. I'm not gonna have the time to write it. Do you have someone? And you always have a way to find a simpler way to do things. And I think that's where people get stuck and afraid to share their message because it's like, oh, I don't have the podcast equipment, like, or I won't have anything to say. That's my favorite one. And I'm like, no, let me sit down with you. I'm sure you have things to say. So
yeah.
um,
Yeah. People often under.
there's definitely something to do there about more people sharing their voice. Uh, Quieter voice needs to get out more, I think.
Yeah, quite a voice, like all those quirky voices, the voices that's always been,
Mhm.
in the background, the things that you feel like in your body, on your soul that needs to be shared, even just like a tiny thing. I think like,
Yep.
you want to find, I call it the super who that is going to make it like happen. You don't need a lot. Like when JS and I were working with the book, we have a very small team. Obviously, JS only see me and a couple of other people, but we have a very small team, and the team just like you didn't have to tell us, oh, I need this. And like, no, JS, this is what's going to happen. This is the time. And this is how we're going to do it. This is the person. This is what you need to do. So we were on a roll because you have a super who that takes care of everything. Like JS's job, you only have one job, right? To like tell your story. And, with the feedback and
exactly.
changes. So that was your only number one job that you had to do. So JS, let's talk about and wrap this one up with where can people find you if they wanted, to get in touch with you?
The best place is my website, so www.jsbusque.com, or also on my social media. I'm on Instagram or Facebook, jsbusque.pro, Pro. I'm on those two places right now for the moment. I'll say YouTube with the TEDx also for the TED Talk, but that's the major place for now. And all my future projects are put in there. So
yeah, the future project or JS's community, which you can check out on his website, or drop him a message on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. Just drop him a message there. And of course, like Gender Bilingual as well as Worth the Shots, the twin sister or twin brother is available on Amazon.com. Just search for either Gender Bilingual or Worth the Shots and grab a copy of this book. Okay, JS, let's wrap it up with one of the biggest insights that that can help people that you've discovered.
Stay true to yourself and like take the leap. I always say like go on, break the mold, be yourself, unleash that power in you and be unique. And everything from there unfolds in a beautiful way.
Beautiful. And believe in yourself, trust in yourself. That's exactly what my ice hockey coach, my kids, not mine. I don't play ice hockey, but my kids, ice hockey coach told my son Abra, like we were at Nashville in a tournament, and he came to him and it's like, you just got to believe in yourself. If you don't have someone who believes in you, got to find someone who's going to believe in you. You've got a great mom. You've got this. You just got to find it. And then you've got to find those, all those frustration, everything else in your body, and want to channel it on ice and believe in yourself. So, like I found it so ironic in a way, like divinely connected, that you mentioned the same thing, like believe in yourself, stay true to yourself, right? Because that's the only way that you can be and having the peace, the serenity, the calmness for you. So thank you so much, JS, for being here with me on this show. And remember, everyone, that it takes courage to be who you are. And more importantly, it takes courage to take action to share your message. Take care. May peace be upon you. Like JS, let's say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.